Now, I don't think many people will disagree with this, but Graham Mertz is the most important Florida Gator for 2024.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. Don't forget that audio drops at 3 a.m. Eastern time every day. Video 8 a.m. Eastern time every day. So just saying, that's the move. Happy Tuesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. It's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. And like I said, I don't think many people will disagree with it, but Graham Mertz is the most important Florida Gator this year. There's two more Gators we're going to talk about during the show that are in that contention. I think the one in the next segment is going to be, I don't know. I'm a little nervous to tell you guys the one in the next segment that I have. But with Graham Mertz, look, he plays quarterback. It's the most important position in football. It's the most important position in sports, really. Because, again, I say this because you talk about basketball as a common comparison that people bring up, but it's like you can have a great point guard and be a good team. You could have a great center and be a good team with average players around them. So it's not a specific position. Baseball, you need multiple great players. But football, if you have average players at every position and you're told, hey, you can have one elite player at any position you want, you get to pick, 9 times out of 10, people are going to pick quarterback. That's it. If you're told, hey, everybody else around you is perfectly average, but you get one elite player, quarterback's going to be that. So, yeah, quarterback's the most important position in football and sports. And even if you disagree with that, in my opinion, quarterback's the most important position in football and in sports. So, Graham Mertz automatically is the most important one, right? But that's not where it stops. That's not the only reason why Graham Mertz is the most important Florida Gator this year. Because you look at this, hell of a schedule. The ESPN FPI rankings came out yesterday, and Florida's schedule is it's basically Florida's schedule. That's it. You look at who's there. Florida Gators face number 1, Georgia. Number 3, Texas. First game's a neutral site. The number 1 Georgia game, neutral site. Number 3 Texas game, on the road. Number 9 Tennessee game, on the road. Number 11 Florida State game, on the road. Number 13 LSU, at home. Number 14 Texas A&M, at home. Number 16 Ole Miss, at home. Number 23 Miami, at home. But in a year where you only have, 4 road games? 4 road games. 1 neutral site game. Yeah. You've got Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida State all in there as your not home games. And you have to play all of them on the road. Yeah. It's, again, arguably the most difficult schedule that we've ever seen. So going off these rankings, you're going to, you host a top 25 team, and then you play Samford. And then you host a top 25 team, and then you travel to Mississippi State. And then you play UCF, who, by the way, they're like number 30. Then you go on the road against number 9. Then you host Kentucky, who's like number 34. And then you play Georgia, then Texas, LSU, Ole Miss, Florida State. It's hell. This schedule is hell. That makes Graham Mertz that much more valuable because, and look, I get it. Everyone loves DJ Lagway. I think DJ Lagway is going to be really good. And I think I'm kind of the king of like temper expectations. I don't temper those expectations with DJ Elijhah, okay? I think he can be really, really good. However, one of the main selling points for Florida Gators fans when you go, oh, they can actually make some noise. They can win 8, 9 games this year. One of the main selling points behind that is we've got an experienced starting quarterback coming back for year 2 in this system. And that's huge. We talk about that same schedule. We talk about it and we go, okay, well, Tennessee's got a new starting quarterback. Florida State's got a new starting quarterback. LSU's got a new starting quarterback. Miami, new starting quarterback. Like, we talk about that. UCF, new starting quarterback. We talk about the teams on the Florida Gators schedule. And so many times we go, they've got a new starting quarterback. That gives Florida the advantage immediately because Florida has a returning starting quarterback. That's why Graham Mertz is the most valuable Florida Gator. Not just because he's the quarterback, not just because he plays the most important position in sports. No. Because he plays, even if you don't think it's the most important position in sports, it's, I think, without a doubt, the most impactful single position in sports. And the jump from having a year 2 starter to a first year starter there is huge. Even if you were a first year starter elsewhere, your first year starting in this system matters, unless you're, of course, like following your head coach or OC and you're playing in the same system. And I mean the same system, not, well, they come from the same tree or anything like that. So for Florida, like, your big selling point for why you think you can pull off this big run that a lot of Florida Gators fans, myself included, think Florida can pull off is, hey, we've got Graham Mertz back for year 2. We've got an experienced starting quarterback back for year 2 as a starter in Gainesville. And so as much as I love DJ Elijhah and what he can become, the reality of the situation is that the Florida Gators need Graham Mertz more than they need DJ Elijhah to play this year. The reality is that having a experienced starting quarterback with year 2 in your system, like the situations, if something where I'm knocking on wood, I know you can hear me knock on wood now, the situations between what Graham Mertz has and what DJ Elijhah has, it's a massive drop-off for the Florida Gators. DJ Elijhah might even be more physically talented right now. You can make the argument, and I don't think a ton of people would argue with you, because he's got the mobility, he's got the big arm, it's the accuracy that needs to be cleaned up. Mechanics need to be cleaned up, which if you've watched from high school to spring game even, they've cleaned up, they've gotten faster. But the mental part to go through this lineup and go, yeah, we've got to play, 8, 9 top 25 teams, and then every team that's not in the top 25 outside of Samford is in the top 42. This isn't easy by any stretch, okay? Having that experienced starting quarterback to go through and weather the storm is huge. Cannot be overstated. Genuinely, it's invaluable. It cannot be overstated. So as much as I love DJ Elijhah and you love DJ Elijhah, I'm telling you, having Graham Mertz as your starter this year, that matters more right now. Even if you think DJ Elijhah is better, Graham Mertz's experience and mentality is more important in this year to win this season. And really, we know, you got to win this season. It has to be a thing. So I love DJ Elijhah, but Graham Mertz, you are the most important Florida Gator for the 2024 season. I'll die on that hill. I don't care. I'll tell you what, every listener that agrees with me, that meme of the person who's just kneeling in front of everybody and just taking all the arrows in the back, let me do that. That's fine. I don't care. DJ Elijhah is Graham Mertz is the most important Florida Gator, as much as we love DJ Elijhah. We are about to stay on the offensive side of the ball and talk about a very talented receiver. But first, a quick word from LinkedIn. When you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for their role. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And LinkedIn is where you find all of those professionals. That's it. That's where they are. I've spoken to friends before, and they'd be like, hey, like I need to beef up my LinkedIn profile. Like I've had that conversations with friends. I've never had a conversation with a friend where they go, hey, I gotta update my Indeed. Never. I've never had that conversation. I don't even know anybody that uses Indeed, Monster, whatever it is. It's LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is the mecca. They've got the monopoly on professional social media. They've got that on LinkedIn. 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So you can hire professionals like a professional. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And like I said, we are moving to wide receiver to talk about who the second most important Florida Gator is. It's not Trey Wilson, if that's cool with you. And this isn't a comparison between Elijhah Badger and Trey Wilson. This is not me saying that I think Elijhah Badger is better than Trey Wilson. Now, I've said before, I look at Elijhah Badger and Trey Wilson as basically a 1A, 1B situation. They're right there with each other. However, this is me saying that you guys know I'm a big believer in the premium positions: quarterback, pass catcher, offensive tackle, pass rusher, cornerback, outside cornerback. I'm a big believer in those. And if you have 5 good players, like 1 good player at least at each of those positions, obviously ideally some spots you have 2, but if you've got premium players or good players at all those premium positions, you're probably going to be a pretty good team, right? Receiver is one of those positions for a reason. This is me saying that at a premium position, Florida does not have a receiver that can stylistically replace what Elijhah Badger does. And this isn't a knock on anybody specifically. I know that every time I bring this up, there's people in the comments that go, Khalil Jackson can do this, Marcus Burke can do this, Aiden Mizell can do this. Look, as far as Marcus Burke and Aiden Mizell go, I'm big fans of both of them. But I've also said that I'm not too certain what their ceiling is. And if you're part of the Locked On Gators Insider program, which the link's in the description below, if you're part of that Insider program, you've gotten my reports on both Marcus Burke and Aiden Mizell, where I've been, hey, they've got really good straight line speed. Think they could be impactful starters, like good role players. But as far as creating separation consistently, I don't know if they could do it. So that's Elijhah Badger's main thing for me, is that having someone at that size that can separate the way that Elijhah Badger does, which always also brings us back to Khalil Jackson. Because look, I love Khalil Jackson. I think his story's awesome, but a lot of people go, hey, like Khalil Jackson can do that. And here's the thing, no, he can't. And again, it's not a knock. It's not a knock. It's just what it is. It's the truth. Elijhah Badger is a better separator than Khalil Jackson. Elijhah Badger is a better separator than most people his size. That's just what it is. That's why he was sought after. Like it's not anything against those guys. It's that he's really good, and stylistically, you can't replace him. Stylistically, Khalil Jackson can't do what Elijhah Badger does. There's a reason that every Khalil Jackson highlight you look at is him mossing someone. He's really good at that. He is arguably one of the best in college football right now at just going up and beating a DB for the ball in the air. Arguably one of the best. But he can't separate well. That's why he has to go make those contested catches. Like, it's as simple as that. And when Khalil Jackson has been open, we've seen him drop easy completions. I mean, you look at the Mizzou game, the end of it, they had to run their little lateral play twice because he dropped it the first time. Like they're different stylistically. I think you could put them both on the field at the same time. I've said that before. I think you could put them both on the same field at the same time, and it's not redundant because Elijhah Badger does differently than Khalil Jackson. He creates separation over the middle. He runs those in breakers and creates separation. Khalil Jackson doesn't. He wants to jump over you because he knows he can. Stylistically, you can't replace Elijhah Badger. Now, talent-wise, you can't replace Trey Wilson or Elijhah Badger. But stylistically, if something were to happen to Trey Wilson, which I'm knocking on wood, Florida could go to a player like Tank Hawkins, like TJ Abrams. Like, you have options as far as if something were to happen to Trey. When you watch the spring game, you see Trey Wilson run downfield more, win that way, and I don't think you can replace that. However, you have Tank Hawkins, you have TJ Abrams. You can kind of condense the Trey Wilson role back to what it was last year of, hey, most of what you're doing is just going to be running underneath, catch and run, pop pass, gadgety stuff, whatever it is. You can replace that. So that's why I think Elijhah Badger, as far as what will win you football games, is more valuable than Trey Wilson here. Just because, again, I don't think you can stylistically replace Elijhah Badger. Talent-wise, you can't replace either of them. Like Elijhah Badger or Trey Wilson. Talent-wise, you can't do it. No matter how hard you try, you can't do it. But stylistically, you can replace what Trey Wilson did last year. Maybe not what he was going to do this year. Maybe not what his role was this year. But stylistically, you can replace most of what he did. Stylistically, you can't replace what Elijhah Badger brings to the table. They went out and got him because they didn't have someone currently on roster that can do what he does. So that's why they had to go get him. That's why they went and got him, and that's why they took him even with any injury concern. Because he brings something to the table that they didn't have already. And so maybe someone else steps up and can become what Elijhah Badger does. But as far as what we have and what we know we have, it's not there right now. And again, like I can tell you now, we're going to go to defense for the next segment. I can tell you now, it's not Shamar, it's not Cam Jackson. Like, this is not, these are the best players. These are the most important players to the roster this year. It's not about who's important next year. Obviously, if we're talking about, who's important long-term, DJ Lagway is number one, no doubt in my mind. But we're talking about who's important to the Florida Gators this year, who's irreplaceable. Right now, that's where we're at. We are about to flip to the defensive side for the last segment of today's show. But first, a quick word from FanDuel. It is winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. And if you listen to the show every day, if you're an everydayer, you know, today is Dinger Tuesday. I don't care about Taco Tuesday. It's Dinger Tuesday. You bet $25 on someone to hit a home run. If they hit a home run, congratulations, you get your money. If they don't hit a home run, you get $5 back in bonus bets for every home run that is hit in that game. My strategy: bad pitchers, good weather, favorable ballpark, figure it out, make money. Last week was great. I was 1-1 home run off from hitting the parlay of everything. I was furious. It's $150 that you can bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more with just $5 bet winning. Just one of them. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to make every playoff shot count. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And again, we're wrapping up with who I think are the most important Florida Gators this season. This one, I'm going to let you know, is a player that I've been openly very critical of for years now. Pretty much since I got this job, I've been openly very critical of him. I will continue to do so until I'm proven wrong. I want to make that clear. However, number 3, Jason Marshall Jr., come on down. I got to say, just because looking at this, again, part of this was I'm picking premium players. Yeah, it has to be a premium position player. You're not picking a linebacker as your most important player, no matter how much you love them. They're just not. They're statistically, value-wise, they're not the most important players because they're not the most impactful players. The most impactful players are going to be at quarterback, receiver, offensive tackle, pass rusher, corner. Pass rusher, there's nobody proven right now. Everybody, we're just like, okay, hope someone steps up. Hope we get that offensive tackle. There's 4 guys that I think most of us are comfortable with in Brandon Crenshaw Dixon, Austin Barber, Devin Manuel, Cam Waits. I'm not super comfortable with Cam Waits, but he's on that list. Just 4 guys there, so no one individual guy is the answer, right? Receiver, you could pick Elijhah. Hell, you could have put Trey Wilson right here too. We could have just been like, hey, both of them are that. Of course, quarterback's going to be there, but that leaves one position, corner. And I don't know if Jason Marshall is going to be good this year. I know that all returns from the spring are that he's looking good, and all the workouts that he's been doing, he looks good. Sure. What I'm talking about with his value comes from what happens if he goes down. Again, knocking on wood. Because again, I don't know if Jason Marshall is going to be good this year. But what I do know is that he is the only cornerback right now that is experienced and healthy. Only one. Devin Moore, even if you want to say, hey, he's healthy, he's not experienced. He's been in Gainesville, but he's been so hurt at this point that he's inexperienced. Okay? Practice-wise, sure, he's experienced as hell. But in game, on the field, inexperienced. And honestly, like talent-wise, Devin Moore this year can be better than Jason Marshall, and it wouldn't shock me at all. I'd kind of expect it at this point. Again, part of that is because of my opinion of Jason Marshall, but I also think Devin Moore, when he's been healthy, is really good. But again, Devin Moore can be better than Jason Marshall if he's healthy, but there's zero confidence to make me believe that that's going to happen. And I don't want to seem like I'm skeptical or that I hate him at all. Like I said, Devin Moore, I think, is very good. I played him in 2K one time, dusted him. Just want to throw that one out there. Him and Ethan Pouncey, dusted him. But with Devin Moore, I like to, or not like to, but I tend to fall under the belief of players who are hurt tend to stay hurt. The injury prone tag. Players that are hurt in college tend to stay hurt in the NFL. Players that are hurt in high school tend to be hurt in college. Players that are hurt early in college tend to be hurt late in college. You look at the Yadni Kajust, offensive tackle of West Virginia, missed the first 2 years of his college career with injuries, went to the NFL, has been there for 5 years, and has only been healthy to see 2 of them finish. Those kinds of things where players that are injury prone are injury prone. That's a thing. You can improve some things, but sometimes things just happen. If you're just someone who has bad luck, had a freak accident, and then it hurts you long term, whatever it may be. Again, I'm knocking on wood. I wish him nothing but the absolute best. But as far as putting a team together, you have to acknowledge, hey, this guy hasn't been reliable. The best ability is availability, and he hasn't been available. So Jason Marshall has been available. Even when he's not been good, he's been available. But a Jason Marshall injury here would now leave you, or even Jason Marshall underperformance. Let's say he doesn't take the steps that everyone's hoping he will. Then you're looking at Jason Marshall Jr., your only experienced starter at corner, and the guy who's supposed to be your top corner, if he's hurt or he underperforms, completely handicap the passing defense again. Again, I have no concerns about if Devin Moore is healthy, he's going to be good. I am very confident in that. Again, not even a little bit of question. If Devin Moore is healthy, he's going to be good on the field. But if Jason Marshall gets hurt or underperforms, Devin Moore is your number 1 corner, and he's dealt with plenty of injuries throughout his career. Your depth is going to have to be your starters, and that's Jakeem Jackson, Dijon Johnson, Teddy Foster, Jameer Grimsley. There's a million young corners on this team, and I do think that most of them have a pretty damn high ceiling. I think Florida did a really good job of going, hey, you're a corner. Florida did a really good job of adding premium position players with really high ceilings. If you can't track, that's how they build the team too. Look at the QBs, look at the receivers, look at the offensive tackles, the edge rushers, the corners. They tend to add guys with really high ceilings, the athletic traits, the length, the speed. They do it, right? So you've got a lot of guys that could pop off. But you also have a lot of guys that are very inexperienced, and that's not a spot you want to be in as a program. So that's why Jason Marshall Jr. is probably the third most important Florida Gator. This is the one where I was most on the fence about. But I got to say, I'm not super high on Jason Marshall. I can't say I don't think any of these injuries happen because injuries are completely unpredictable specifically. But as far as I'm concerned, these are just the most important Florida Gators. If any injuries were to happen, knocking on wood, I don't think you could realistically replace these guys as far as what you're putting on the field consistently. You already can't replace Jason Marshall strictly because of the experience. You would then have no experience in that corner. That's why most important, maybe not. Most irreplaceable? Yeah, think so. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day, we are available daily and free wherever listen to the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33, and I'll see you all next time.